got the hat?
And I'm Mario, Mamma Mia. You got a Mario.
You got a Mario?
Yeah, I'm Super Mario.
You're Super Mario?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Supersonic is better than Super Mario. Supersonic, and I'm gonna turn to Supersonic and Supersonic and Super and Super and Super
And Super
Mario and Super Luigi. I'm gonna turn to that. Mamma Mia, where's my hat? Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia. Let's go. We went to our jump. And we are the Mamma Mia. Let's see it. The Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia. Start poll. Have you thumbed up the video? What you waiting for, Shug? You said you're waiting for something. What you waiting on? You want some Skittles? Not.
You
want some Skittles?
please.
Okay, hold on a second.
I want my Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia's candy. Mamma Mia. Yeah. Mamma Mia's candy.
Make sure y'all thumb up the video as y'all come up in here. Appreciate it greatly. Am I early today? I might be a little early today. Yeah.
It might be early today.
Oh, okay. I got you. I got you. I see what you're saying now. Sure. I had to put his seatbelt on. This boy is wild sometimes. You hear him? Y'all can hear him in the back.
No, just right now. It's my You're different now. It's my phone.
I'm just sharing this live. I'm coming, y'all. Give me 1 second. Where the Christian Singles group? Did I get kicked out of the Christian Singles group or something? Let me see. I don't see no one. I don't see the Christian Singles group. I think they mad at me. Let me see. I'm gonna have to look up the Christian Singles group to see if I'm still in there. I think they kicked me out of the Christian Singles group. He's already had his pre-work, man. He wake up with a pre-workout. I'm just sharing in the other spots. Hey man, what I'm playing today, it's some sad shit really. Like what I'm playing today is a young man, like in the Bible it talks about I find more bitter than death the woman, and that could not speak the volumes that is speaking now in regards to this young brother that got killed, or unalive rather.
Piano is not very like a sprunky.
That could not be more true. Let me see. He's already had his worked out. Oh, I need to text this other brother. This brother had called me last night and said he had some questions. Let me see. 1 minute, 19 seconds. I think this is it. Who was it? So I spoke to that person on the way.
And Darby. And name Starby.
All right, so brother called me late last night. He had some questions. All right, so welcome to another edition to the Car Chronicles. I'm your host with the most, Captain Tazaryach. I got my co-host in the back. I'll let him say hi in a second. Um, got a co-host. Co-host for the rest of the week. They ain't got no school, so uh, y'all listening. The Most High is with us is how we are with our kids, right? See, on like I said, you here now. There we go. I wonder if y'all can hear the sound. Appreciate y'all letting me know the sound is out. Whatever questions. So what's up? So my thing is, if you're a Hebrew Israelite, why you still read the Bible? How come you don't read the story? It's the Basora. How you spell it? But separate. It's spelled B-E-S. B-E-S. A-H. Yeah, thank you for not to know. Yeah, it says something. It says Sora. It says is a Hebrew word meaning good. It's the root of the Greek word. It's to translate to book because you're saying it's a book of your is the book. So I want to make sure I read the exact thing you talked to. Basora is what? It's a book, right? Basically, some Hebrew Israelites feel it's the real version of what the Bible is trying to tell you. What is? I'm gonna look up what is. Now the only thing I see is what is that is the Basora of your Bible, right? It's the Basora of Yeshua, yeah. It says the Basora of Yeshua. Spoke of scripture in English for that's the or the AI the AI said the Basora of Yeshua is the translation of the Bible, specifically the New Testament. It aims to restore the original name, Yahushua, Jesus, and Yahuwah for God, and presents the scripture as a message of good news. I'm wondering why I don't. Stop. Like you talk about Christians, but don't you read their book? Don't read a Christian's book. And this I mean, like this and this, but sure. First of all, would disagree with Yahuwah being the name. But even with that said, says it aims to restore the original Hebrew names and terminology. So they're taking the same Greek and just translating it differently. They be translating the Greek English. It's still just translate the, the original English word. Now also, hear what I need you to understand. The Bible that we read, the Christian book, Bible that we read. Okay, so I read specifically KJV 16:11 because I read the KJV 16. Yes. The closest. Hold on one second. Don't say nothing. Sound is coming. Just don't say nothing. Let me see. What are you listening? I ain't got. I'm just gonna try to. Hey, what the if? Hold on. Let me know if it sounds. Yeah. So yeah. Let me know if it's. Hold on. Testing 1 2.
Testing 1 2
All right.
testing.
All right, the sound is back to normal. Sorry, I appreciate your patience with me just fixing the sound. Sound should be back to normal now. I think my Bluetooth cut on in the back, and so that's why I was choppy. So just a brief recap of what me and the brother was talking about. The brother asked me, why do I read a Christian Bible? Why don't I read the Basora Bible? So I explained to him, and I'm going to let you respond to what I said, brother. So I explained to him the Basora Bible is a Bible that aims to use Hebrew names and terminology, but it's still a translation of the Greek. I told him that the KJV was just a English translation of the Hebrew and the Greek, and that's why we read that. Brother, you have the floor.
Yes. So, what do you have respect for Freemasonry?
I don't know. I don't have respect for no Freemasons.
Would you? Well, did you know that King James was a Freemason?
There's a lot of things that's said about King James. King James is told to be a white man. King James was called a homosexual. I've heard of the Freemason. There's a book I want you to get, right, as you recommended for me. There's a book called The Negro Question, Volume 4, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's called. What The Negro Question, Volume 4 is a book that breaks down. I'm just making sure I'm giving you the right one.
Yeah.
Let me make sure that this is the right one. Yeah. So when you get this book, you're gonna see that this is gonna go through the intricate history of King James. You're gonna see that King James actually knew he was an Israelite. They called themselves the Jacobites. His throne was set up just like what they believe King David's throne was. You're gonna see he was called Negro Boy because he comes from the line of black men that ruled Europe at that time. Now, with all that said, he had nothing to do with the translation of the Bible other than hiring the top Greek scholars and Hebrew scholars to translate it into English. That's his role. So, like, let's say if you're a Christian, right?
No, I don't have.
You
I don't
don't
have any.
you don't adhere to no belief. Okay. So let's say if anybody comes today and translates records from one language to another, or hire somebody to translate one language to another. No matter what they are, it's irrelevant. It's who they hired that's relevant. So the men that King James hired are the ones that translated the English version of the Bible that we have from King James. King James' names is on it is because he's the one that authorized it. It's like anything. If somebody authorizes somebody to do something, he gets credit. Like Obama gets credit for the death of Osama bin Laden, even though he didn't do the actual unaliving. But he hired and commissioned, and under his authority is how they got it done. You understand?
Yes. So if the book was called the Satan version of the Bible, but it still had all the stuff that you read in it, would you read it?
No, because no righteous man would call it the book. No righteous man would call it the book of Satan.
No, but I'm saying it's you see how it's named after King James,
Yeah, but
and you're saying, well, it doesn't matter what he's done. It was just named after him, right?
no,
Well,
I didn't
what
say.
about
Wait. I didn't say it didn't matter what he was done. I actually named all the things that they accused him of, none of which was true. Him being a homosexual is not true. I don't have no
I mean, how
information.
do we know that?
You said what?
How do we know that for sure?
Because when you do the history of him being called a homosexual, nobody called him a homosexual while he was alive. It was only after he died that his enemies then vilified him. I'll give you an example. Have you heard that Malcolm X was a homosexual?
No.
Okay, after, so maybe like 10, in the 2000s, I believe, there was a book written that said Malcolm X was a homosexual. But everybody that knew Malcolm X knew that Malcolm X was not a homosexual. It's only after he died that people came up with the lie that he was a homosexual. That's one. There's no record of him being a Mason. Now, so you would have to, I don't know, I should say it differently. I don't know of a record of him being a Mason.
It does say they have records showing his membership in the Lodge of Stone in 1601.
No
King
problem.
James.
So let's say if he got that membership in the lodge, what does that have to do with him hiring somebody under his authority? And do you know why he got it translated?
But my thing is
I'm
this:
asking you, do you know
I,
why he got it translated?
I can't say I can't say I know why he got it translated, but it's like if Freemasonry and God don't mix, why would you want to read a book that's a
Because there's
Freemason?
no because there's no Freemasonry work in the Bible.
But they use. But how do you know that?
Because that's a excellent question. Because when you go to the translation of anything, let's say, take it off the Bible, for example. Let's say you got a Chinese book and you're translating it to English. When you read it in the English, the only way you know if the English side messed it up is if you go to the Chinese same version and make a comparison. So if it said the Buddha monk conquered whatever, and then you go read it in the English and it doesn't match, then you know that that version of English is wrong. The
Yeah.
KJV matches the translation. You know, the New Testament was completed before the first century was over. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Corinthians, Revelations, XYZ was all completed. So if you ever want to question if the King James is valid, all you do is compare it to the original manuscript. And when you look at the original manuscript, it's correct. Now, here's where you can see Christianity in the translation. You have a Bible with you?
No.
Okay, so I'll just tell you. In the book of Acts, chapter 12, verse 4, right? When you read
Yeah.
that, it's going to say that Easter was coming up. Now, when you look up that, Easter, of course, when you actually looking in the translation, it's talking about Passover. Even the word God, that's not that's not the word that would be used in the original. You would just look it up in the original. So
God
there's
translates to Paul.
God doesn't just translate the power, brother. God translates to
No, I
angel.
said no. I said God translates to ball. Baal. Ball. The ones
God,
you guys say that.
God does not translate. So God translates to multiple words, brother. That's
But it also translates to ball in Hebrew. You can look that up. God translates to ball in
so
Hebrew.
if I go into the word God, right? I'm gonna go to the interlinear for it, right? I'm gonna look up the word God, H430. I'm gonna read to you every definition of that word. It says outline of biblical uses: rulers, judges, divine ones, angels, gods, God, goddess, godlike, work or special possessions of God, the true God, and God. That's what that word translates to in English. Excuse me, when you
But it
look up
also
the.
says on here in Hebrew, Baal means Lord or owner, and it was a common title for various
So
deities in the
now,
ancient Near East.
but look at what you just did. You just switched it. You said Baal also stands for Lord or owner, but your initial statement was Baal meant God. Lord can be applied to anybody. Abraham was called Lord. Christ is called Lord. You can be called Lord because Lord is master. That's what Lord means. So you can't say Baal means God and then try to switch it up and say it's something else. You got to be consistent. So Lord can translate to different words, but now there's two Lords in the Bible. You got Lord, which is Yahweh, and you got Lord, which is Master. So you gotta make sure, especially if you coming to me with that, you want to make sure that you stand on what you say. So Baal does not mean God. Baal can mean master. I don't disagree with you, but Lord can mean master in lowercase, and we can be lords, but we're not the Most High Yahweh. What's your next question?
Also,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Also, I was gonna say that. What the fuck is this? Okay, yeah. So you're okay. So you're saying it doesn't mean God; it means Lord. Okay, cool.
No, you said
So
that. I said God. Well, you said God meant Baal. I said you're incorrect, and then I read the Hebrew definitions, and you were incorrect. And then you said Baal meant master or Lord, and then I agreed that Baal does mean master or Lord, and that we can be called Baals or Lords.
so if you don't agree with Freemasonry, why would you trust a Freemason to translate a Bible to you?
Because a Freemason, you keep asking the same question, brother. You disappointing me. King James did not. Did King James translate the Bible? Yes or no?
The people. Okay, why would you trust the? Okay, so
I
if he
just
was a
need you to answer my
Freemason,
question because this is gonna help you stop
no,
asking me
no,
this.
no. Okay, so King James did not himself translate the Bible. But
Thank
what
you.
I'm saying is,
So,
if
okay,
he, if, so what he was into, right? You would agree that it had what he was into was totally against God, right?
I don't know everything that he was into to say whether it was against God or not. What
If
I
he was
do
a
know,
Freemason, if he was a
hold on one
Freemason,
second. Hold on one second.
okay.
The phone number is pinned to the top. It's 862-224-9027. So now, in the Freemason, Masonry was originally about building. It was about architecture, building, like them ancient churches and stuff like that. Now Masonry, of course, is a lot of satanic today. So I would have to see what exactly they were doing at that time to know what Mason Lodge. But idol worship, God is against. I'm against idol worship. But that
So
does
that's
not
what I'm
mean
saying.
that the Lord can't use. I'll give an example. Who said Christ? Who set up Christ to get killed?
Who set up Christ to get killed?
Yeah. hmm If you
Uh,
don't know, that's
no,
fine.
I think, I do know. Even though I think it's a big misinterpretation on those verses. Yeah, I think was it Peter or
No,
the
no,
one who
not Peter, because
here?
Pete. No, it wasn't Peter, because Peter was with Christ. It was
I
Caiaphas.
forgot. I forgot his name, but he
I'm gonna
kissed him.
tell
He
you.
gave him a kiss on.
No, that's not. No, no, that's Judas. That's not what I'm asking you though. I'm not at. That's. I'm talking about when I say who set up Christ to get killed. When you talk about Judas, is the one that identified Christ. That's what you're
With
talking
this
about.
from silver coins,
But
right?
that
In exchange.
right, but that's not what I'm talking about. So I'll be more clearer.
Okay.
In John the 11th chapter, after Christ raised Lazarus from the dead, Caiaphas is the one that said that Christ should die. That's what he
Okay.
said. And now when Caiaphas said that, now as Caiaphas is setting up to do something evil, Caiaphas also prophesied that his death would gather in one the children of Israel back to the Most High. So my point in saying that is the Lord can use King James to have him have the Hebrew and Greek scholars translate the Bible that we use today. And that's all
But
that
why
it
would the Lord want to use him? Out of all the other good people in the world, why would he pick the evil people?
did the Lord use Paul who was persecuting Christians? Yes or no?
Oh, okay, I get your point. I can't be mad at that.
Thank you. I
I can't be
appreciate
mad.
that. So, and now when the Lord used Paul, a lot of the letters we read in the New Testament is from Paul, even though at one time Paul was persecuting. So the Lord can use whoever he wants. But most important part though, brother, is that when we look at the King James Bible and compare it to the Greek text, is that it's translated appropriately into the English. Now, when you translate anything from one language to another, what you're finding is the best word that matches this word from another language. And so that's the point there. So now, do you have another question? I'll take one more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a final statement. I have a
Okay.
final statement, and I'll call back in when I have more stuff together. But
Okay.
I'm just gonna say that I do think that we're misinterpreting the Bible a lot. I think that the Bible is talking about our body. I don't feel like the. I
You
know we
think
see
it's
the
talking about
stories.
our body?
Yes, I think the Bible, the whole book, I think it's in code, and I think it's referring
What
to
do
our
you
body.
mean
So even
talking
when it
about
talks
our
about,
body? What do you mean by talking about our body?
okay, I'll give you an example. So when it talks about the resurrection, we read it, we read it and think that, oh, it means we read it as it is, like, oh, he got put on the cross and he got resurrected. When it's really talking about something being resurrected in your body,
So
it's not a real.
hold on one second. Hold on one second, caller. Caller, hold on one second.
Come on.
Okay, when you say what's being resurrected in our body,
Uh, well, just I'll give a better example. Like when they call him Jesus Christ, people might think, oh, it's Jesus Christ, like that's his last name, but Christ could be, and I'm saying could be because I don't want because I know everybody think, oh, how do you know? But Christ could be the state of consciousness he was in. So say if you got to that state of consciousness, you would be Christ as well. You feel what I'm saying? Like I think the Bible's referring to our body and showing us how to get to Christ consciousness. Oh, bow down to God. Like there's many verses where it tells you that God is in you. God is not in the sky. It tells you that God is in you.
There's
And
no
even I
verse
think
that says that God is not in the sky, but there are verses that says that the Most High is in you. There's also verses that says the kingdom of heaven dwelleth in you. It's also verses that say
exactly kingdom
it's
of
also
heaven in you. So this is
it's
God in the sky.
slow down, brother. It's also verses that say that Christ is in us, but it doesn't take away from Christ being an actual person that is a blueprint. So when we act like him, that's the whole term of being Christ-like. Like Michael Jordan, he's like, you ever heard? I don't know how old you are. You know that song when it's like, I want to be like Mike. You know that?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, think about all the NBA players. People were Jordan-like because they would pattern themselves after Jordan, wear the sleeve like Jordan, wear the shoes like Jordan, cut their hair like Jordan, shoot like Jordan, jump, everything was like Jordan so they can be like him. But Jordan was a real person that they emulated. So it's the same thing with Christ. Christ is a real person that gave us the spirit of how to keep the laws of God, obey the laws of God. So there was an actual person named Christ.
I'm
Christ
gonna
just
disagree on that. I don't feel like I could agree and say Christ was probably a real person, but I don't think he was going around telling us to worship a.
to
When you
going
read the
around. You
Bible,
say you don't think he was going around telling us to worship what?
like the whole commandments thing, I
You
don't
go now. You
feel like.
going in and out a little bit. You said the whole commandments thing.
Hello, can you hear me better?
Yeah, I can hear you better now.
I feel like we got it misconstrued. I don't feel like Christ was going around telling us to keep any commandments to anybody named Yeshua, Yahoo, Yeshua, or Yahweh. Even when you look at it specifically names Yahweh, the God of Israel. I feel like there were. I don't. I feel like Yahweh was probably one of many of a group. You get what I'm saying? Because it even talks about how there were other ones, but we get
You
this
know the
whole.
Bible says that even demons believe in one God, right? That's what the
But
Bible
what I'm
says.
saying is,
But let me just read.
I get
Let
what
me.
you're saying.
So when you
Okay,
talk about
yeah, I'm listening.
God, this is Matthew, Mark 12 and 29. It says, and Yahweh shall answer them. The first of all commandments is, hear, O Lord, the Lord our God is one Lord. How many gods did Jesus say we have? On that verse I just read.
You said how many gods did Jesus say we
Remember,
have?
you said you think it's a multitude of gods, right?
I don't think it's a multitude of gods. I think it was a multitude of higher beings that
That's a
portrayed
okay, no
themselves as
problem.
God.
So no problem. That's what you say. So now I'm gonna say it again. Christ said, the first of all commandments is, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. So did he say one being or multiple beings?
I think you're misinterpreting that verse.
No, I think you're
I
misinterpreting
think
it. I think you're
I think you're taking it literal. You're taking it as this is saying. I think when he's talking about one God, he's talking about one mind, as in one consciousness,
no, that's not
not
what
as
it's
it
talking
being an
about,
active
because
God.
the problem you have with that, brother, in Psalms the 83rd chapter, it says, thou whose name alone is Yahweh over all the earth. That's one.
Okay, you kind of gotta understand that when we're reading these updated versions, there's things that's thrown in there too as
Oh,
well.
you got,
Like
when you read it in the Hebrew,
that's why I said we kind of.
when you read it in the Hebrew, it says the same thing, brother. This is James 2 and 19. It says, thou believest that there is one God, thou doest well.
Because
Let
Yahweh
me
was the
just
God of
all you
Israel.
gotta
That's what
do
I'm
is
trying to
just let
tell
me
you.
finish. It says, thou believest there is one God, thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble. Even the devils know that there's one God. What you might be
I'm gonna be
confused,
honest.
what you might be confused by is because you have Egyptians belief, Nubian belief, Buddha
No,
belief.
I don't have Egyptian
You
belief or
do.
Nubian belief.
That's
What
the only reason you
what
believe that there's other beings is because of paganism.
has nothing to do with Egypt.
I said paganism.
It has nothing. I promise you, it's nothing to do with
You
Egypt
got
at all.
listening is an art, brother. It has everything to
Okay.
do with paganism, is the word I used. I didn't just mention Egypt.
Okay.
I said Egypt, Nubia, Buddha, every African, Islam. Islam got multiple gods. So because of the paganism is why you believe that there's multiple other beings. Whereas the Bible only has one Most High. Now, brother, I did
I
answer a
think
lot
I'm
of
gonna
your
be honest.
questions. I do
I
got
think you're
another
just
call.
locked in onto the Bible, and you
What's
take that
up?
as like,
What did I tell you?
oh my God, I'm reading it. It says
Sit
this, so
down.
this is what it
Okay,
means.
just
I don't
say
think
I know,
you
sit down.
understand that you're kind of like misinterpreting it, and
No,
also,
I'm not
even if it
misinterpreting
says that,
anything. What you
wait,
want? The one
I
thing you
just want to
said.
get to this one point.
Okay.
You said they said it because it was in Hebrew. The Hebrews, if you look back, they weren't just worshiping one God at first.
They was
Now the Bible does speak about that, but the Bible turns it around and makes it seem like, oh, Yahweh punished them for that. When Yahweh was in the same kind of like realm, Yahweh kind of got like they kind of like
what's the
split up,
proof?
and Yahweh
What's
got
the
assigned
proof?
to Israel.
What's the proof of that?
You said, what's the proof?
Yeah, well, what you just said, that Yahweh got assigned to Israel.
I mean, just looking into like what like different cultures that
There you go.
have
So
said about it.
once again, that's why I said the reason why you believe in other beings is because of paganism.
I don't believe in other
You do.
beings.
Yes, you do. You just said Yahweh got assigned to Israel. And I said, where did you get that
I'm
from? You
saying that
said you got that from multiple cultures, some other cultures. That's what you just said.
I'm saying that I think it's kind of I think that's kind of dangerous to literally think that
Okay,
you're reading.
but I just want
Like,
you to
think
stay
about it.
solid. What you said smart is that I'm locked into Israel, and that's smart. You're correct.
No, you're locked into a Bible which you're
I'm
not even
locked
reading
into
a correct
Israel.
translation of.
I am reading the correct. The part that
Where's the proof? How do
the
you know that
part
you're reading the correct
I
translation?
already answered that. Listening is an art, brother. I told you because when I
Okay,
look at the original text that it was translated in,
but how do you
it's
know that's the original text?
then let's not read nothing ever. Don't read anything. That's what you should do. Why are you
Okay,
reading? Why are
so can
you
we agree
reading?
that?
Why we
So
don't
can
agree
we
on we
agree
don't
that you
agree on
may not be
nothing. Hold
reading
on.
something?
No. I am absolutely reading the correct translation. You questioning
How do you know that?
because because I study.
Okay, so
Now,
you don't know for sure.
I
You
know
believe that you're reading the
1
correct
million. I
translation.
know 1,000,000%. This I'll give you another example. When they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, are you familiar with the Dead Sea Scrolls?
Yes.
Was King James accurate to the Dead Sea Scrolls? Yes or no?
I can't say I'm sure if he was
And
accurate or not. You
wait,
can't say so either.
now you're either being fucking stupid or on purpose condescending. Because the Dead Sea Scrolls date to 4th century BC. What the hell is wrong with y'all? The Dead Sea
No, my
Scrolls.
bad. I'm walking my dog.
You yelling at the damn dog. Okay. The Dead Sea
Yeah, let's
Scrolls,
go, Lily.
the Dead Sea Scrolls was found and date back to the 4th century. King James is in circulation in 1611. So you're talking about 1600 years that they don't have access to these Dead Sea Scrolls. When they find the Dead Sea Scrolls and compare them to the King James translation of the Old Testament, it's correct. It's not incorrect. So when you say, how do we know? It's because the translation of the Bible that the 4th century Dead Sea Scrolls, King James, the translators have no access to except the records that they have. If it's still accurate, you can't say it's not translated correctly.
So when do you
No,
believe that the Dead Sea Scrolls were recovered?
Jesus Christ.
When do
Hey
you believe
brother,
they were recovered?
I'm gonna take the next call. I'm gonna just give you some advice.
Yeah, it's all about belief. It's all what you
I'm
believe in.
gonna just give you some
You believe
advice.
that you're reading the correct
I don't
version. I
know why.
believe that you're
I don't.
misinterpreting what you read.
But do you believe the records that you say where Yahweh was assigned? Do you believe that?
Yes, it makes sense. Everybody,
Okay, no problem. No problem. So now
the only person
that's
that's
why
saying something different.
slow down. So then your problem is you're choosing not to believe that the Bible is translated
You're
correctly.
choosing to believe that there's one God that governs you, and that he's evil, and that he destroys people and kills kids. That's crazy.
I don't believe that God is evil. I believe God is a good
Bro,
God.
anybody that kills children is freaking evil, bro.
No problem. Anybody that disobeys God is evil. And God is
So,
right
so
to punish. That dog,
innocent
are you
children.
right to yell at that dog?
Would I kill the dog
Are
if he
you
didn't listen
right?
to
Are
me?
you
No.
right to yell at that dog?
You're comparing yelling
Are
and
you
killing.
right?
We're not
Can you
gonna.
answer the
Yelling and
question?
killing is two different
Can you
things.
answer the question? Are you right to yell at the dog?
I'm right to yell at the dog, but I'm not right to kill
If
the
the
dog.
dog don't obey you, are you right to discipline that dog?
Am I right to discipline? Yes, but will I kill it?
Right.
No.
Are you right to discipline the dog?
So justify
Can you
how Yahweh
listen,
justify Yahweh.
instead of jumping the gun, just answer the questions. Are you right to discipline the dog?
Yes, I can discipline my dog.
Problem, because you are its owner, right?
Yes.
Thank you. So God owns us, and God can do whatever He wants to us. Because
Okay, so you were just about to justify killing kids. Thank you. I knew you about to do that.
Why are you getting emotional?
You was gonna justify killing children.
Why are you getting emotional though? If I'm gonna justify,
because I'm not getting emotional.
Okay, then let me finish.
You're gonna justify children being killed.
Then just let me finish, brother. Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate it. So if God owns us, God can do whatever He wants. And here's the beautiful part.
So you believe God owns us. I don't believe that there's a God that owns us. That's crazy.
All you got to do is just stop being emotional, brother. You the only one hype. You the only one interrupting.
I'm gonna be calling back. Don't worry, I'm gonna be calling back with facts too.
You have no fact. Okay, I'll tell you what. When you call back, we'll continue this conversation, brother.
Yeah.
All right,
I'll see when you live. I'll be calling back.
All right, no sweat.
All right.
It says Hamilton. I'm gonna just say next person on the line. I don't want to say I don't know what your name is on the phone. Yeah, you sound low, brother.
All right, is that better?
Yeah.
I ain't trying to yell. No, that was funny. He said he's gonna call back with facts.
Yeah, he gonna call back with facts. He ain't got no facts now, but he gonna call back with facts. That shit is crazy.
No, I just got one quick question for you, Cap.
Okay.
Luke 9:35, when Christ going to the mountain, James and Peter there, and he's with Elias, and then
right.
Most High comes in the cloud, and he said, "This is my beloved son." Is that not like a final cut to like Jesus is God?
Well,
right,
here's the crazy part. As long as these Christians exist, it ain't never gonna be no final. But you gotta ask them, who is that talking? When they say God, they cut. So yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
All right, that's all I wanted, Ken.
All right, no sweat. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, bro. Shout out to Durant Charles. Keep the law if you want the kid to stop dying. That's the point. That's the part I wanted to get to him. Like, and that's the problem. I also want to shout out Durant Charles. He gave a super chat donation, man. Appreciate that greatly as well. That's what I wanted to highlight with the brother. Like, and he knew where I was going when I brought up the dog, because he owns the dog. So if you own whatever you own, you discipline, you punish, you do whatever it is that you want to do to said creature, so we are God's creature. And if God say, obey me and live, disobey me and die, and then you choose to disobey, that's on you. Can't blame the Most High for that. We're not about to sit here and blame the Most High when He clearly said what He do. Like, the Lord laid the laws down. There we go. The Lord laid the laws down. You disobeyed and get mad. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Before we go, let me introduce the co-host. Come here now. Say hi. Say hi. Say hi to the people. Go on, say hi.
Hi, people.
Say what's up. No, you're going too far now. Say
what's up, bro? What's up, bro?
All right, now sit back down. Now put the seatbelt back on.
I'm gonna do it again.
No, put the seatbelt back on. Thank you. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Drew Compton. Yeah.
You breaking up a little bit, bro. You breaking up. I told you to put that seat. All
right, can you hear me a little better?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly now. What's up?
Hey, I got a question. Do you believe in like demonic possession, demonic.
I believe we can be possessed by a demon. Yep.
So is that the spirits that God sending for judgment?
In some cases, yes, it can be.
Okay. So do you believe in black magic, voodoo?
No.
Okay. All right, man. Okay, I have another question. This is my last question. I'm gonna let you go.
Mm.
Do you agree with? So if somebody was to murder someone, do you agree with the imprisonment of that person?
Yes.
All
Well,
right.
actually,
That's all.
if we was in the kingdom, they would die.
Oh, okay. I got it. All right, that's all I wanted to ask you, my man. That's it.
All right, no sweat, brother. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right. All right. So before I continue, I just want to let everybody know. I believe this is the last day of the sale. Um, I'm debating if I should do. Y'all tell me. Let me see. What can I do? Okay. So this is gonna be the last day of the sale. I'm debating if I should make a 1 day 50% off sale, but I don't think I'm gonna do it. But today is the last day of my sale, 25% off. If you go to cargas.com, you can take advantage of the sale. All right. Now today's topic, and I'm gonna play the content. Today's topic, I titled today's live, Black Woman Fakes 911 Call, Gets Young Scooter Killed. Why? The Bible says, I find more bitter than death the woman, whose heart is snares and traps. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Mike from California.
You got a question or comment, brother?
Yeah, I just wanted to figure out these two scriptures. I want to see if I can use it to prove that Jesus said the Edomites are the devil.
You said, I don't understand what you're saying. You got to say it again.
So I wanted to use these two scriptures to see if these two scriptures will work to prove that the Edomites are the devil.
To prove that the Edomites are the devil?
Yeah, that Jesus said that.
Let me hear it.
Okay, John 8:44 and 45. Ye are your father, the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. Right? So I'm just going to read that part. And then I'm going to go to John 19 and 15.
How you going to break it down, though?
But what I will say is that, because the chiefs are kind of going like what the Pharisees are saying, that the chief priests answer that we have no king but Caesar. So basically, what they're saying is that their king is Caesar, but then Jesus is saying that their father that they worship is the devil.
That's correct.
You know what I mean?
No, that's correct. I just wanted to see how you was breaking it down. That's correct.
Okay, I just want that bit on my mind, so I've just been thinking about that. If I can use that to prove that he said that. Not that we saying it, but
that's
he
Christ.
said that as well.
Yeah, that's Christ saying it.
Okay, that's it.
All right, no problem. All right, shalom. All right. So when it says, I find more bitter than death the woman, that's good. That's Ecclesiastes 7 and 26. This scripture could not be exemplified any further than what transpired over this weekend. This brother lost his life, I believe, on his birthday. So his birthday, now we don't celebrate birthdays. This is just a story. So the day he was born is the same day he died. This Ecclesiastes 7 and 26. It says, I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets and her hands as bands. Now, for those that might have missed the story, I'll give you the story. So over the weekend, matter of fact, I'm going to play the 911 call. Let's do that. So let's play the 911 call that was sent. This is the 911 call that this black woman called on the rapper named Scooter. Let's listen at what she said.
To get out. He's refusing to let her out. And it's like 7
Hold on.
trying to get out. There's a reaction for every.
All right, now this is a story.
There was literally a shooting. The house, literally the neighbors next door, the house of the address that I just gave you. There is literally a whole domestic dispute going on. There's like 7 guys that live in this house, and
What's your
then
name?
I'm sorry, what is my name?
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Tell me exactly what happened.
Okay,
Now, did
so
y'all hear her?
I'm
I just muted it.
Oh,
She called the
I'm
cops
here. I'm
and
here.
she said
This is kid.
there's a
This is
domestic
it.
violence, there's shooting, etc.
Please.
None of this is taking place. She's lying. This is what she's calling the cops. I'm going to bring it back.
7 guys that live in this house, and
What's your
then
name?
I'm sorry, what is my name?
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Tell me exactly what happened.
Okay, so I'm the neighborhood watch, and
Uh-huh.
She's
basically,
neighborhood watch.
like I said, these guys they're like selling drugs in and out of the house. All you see is guys coming in and out of the house with guns and stuff. They holding guns in the air, and then it's like I'm not sure if they're pimping, but it's the
They
situation that's going
pimping.
on right now. This girl doesn't
They're
have on any
pimping.
clothes.
The girl
They
ain't got
threw her
no
outside. He
clothes.
was fighting
They
the
threw her
girl.
outside.
He literally fought
She's
the
fighting.
girl.
He's
I'm not sure
fighting
if
the
they was
girl.
fighting over if they was fighting over drugs. That's what it sounded like. There was literally a shooting. It sounded like they were fighting over drugs. Um, and then they started shooting. She had someone come over there and they started shooting. But the house needs to be investigated. They're definitely doing they're doing illegal stuff over there, and it's
How
disturbing the
many shots were
area.
fired?
I would say 3. It was 3 shots.
When did
3
it happen?
shots.
It's happening now.
She's saying it's
That's not,
happening
yes, and the
now.
girl is hurt because she was like bleeding profusely, like blood everywhere.
Okay. Do you see or hear
She was,
anything else?
yeah, she's trying to get away, and they're holding her. She's being held hostage, like she's trying to.
So now
They
she's
brought her. The
bleeding
guy that was
profusely.
fighting her,
She trying to
he
get
ran
away.
outside naked, and then he was fighting her outside. And then there was another
Okay.
commotion. She tried to get away. He dragged her back in the house. So now they're at the door, literally fighting. It sounded like they were fighting over drugs. Trying to get out. He's refusing to let her out. And it's like 7 guys in the house. There's also a child in danger as well because she has a baby.
Can you give me a description of the male?
Now,
The man
she says all of this. She says all of this. Do y'all know none of that was true? Think about what she said. Baby out there getting kidnapped. The woman's being beat. She's bleeding profusely. There's 7 men in the house. Could be pimping involved. 3 gunshots. Selling drugs. All of this, she says, on a 911 call. She sends cops to the house. And this is what I mean. Like, black women, like, y'all are, when I say monsters, monsters is an understatement. And thank the Lord that y'all, like, it's to the point, like, sometimes you got to thank the Most High in his laws and that we only have each other. Because when you hear a story like this, it's like, how do you defend the black woman? When this black woman lied and gave, and a part of me is like, why did the cops even believe all this shit she was saying? But as the relationship between black men and cops is horrible in America. We don't have a relationship in America. If a cop comes, if a cop gets called to the house on a regular, you don't know if that man gonna get shot, arrested, XYZ. You just said, what she just said, it said, man, we gotta send SWAT to that house. Shots is fired, they pimping, they selling drugs, they beating the girl, she bleeding, they don't give a damn about the child or none of that. Those the cops that you sent to a house. And then the brother, when the cops come, because he's terrified, he don't know what they're there for, he runs and gets killed. Now, 2 stories are coming out of this. One story is that when he hopped over the fence, he cut an artery in his leg. A lot of people think shooting in the leg is safe. You got major arteries in your legs. So they saying the one story is he cut his leg, bled out because it cut an artery. Others are saying that he shot. I haven't got a solid story based on a news article. The news article that the cops released said that he got cut. Yeah, Million. That's what I'm about to say. Based on the autopsy, he got cut in his leg. And that makes it worse. Because the norm is for the cop to shoot him. Right? And I'm not saying that would probably make it worse. It'd have been worse either way. But what makes it worse is the cops wasn't trying to shoot him. The cops was coming there. And if the cops would have came there and would have saw nothing was happening, then it would have just been a prank call. She gets arrested. Now it's a body. Now, thank the Lord, this woman got arrested. This bitch, I'm calling her a woman. This bitch needs to get arrested, needs to be thrown in jail. And if they gave her life, I wouldn't be mad at it. If they said you took this life, so you got to get life, I wouldn't even be mad at it. You know what probably happened? She might get 5 years, maybe 6 years, something like that. She might get that. But none of that is going to bring this young man's life back. And this is indicative of the black woman using 911 as an enemy, as an enemy. I'm going to see if I can find this video on my channel, because I said this years ago. I want to see if I can find this video. I'm going to see if this is in. I believe I said this when me and Polite was battling. I believe I said this from Polite 3. Is this it? I think this might be it. I'm going to see if this is the video I'm looking for. This might be it. I'm not sure. Let me see.
Cool. I just didn't want to throw it out the way. As far as religion is concerned, based on how you construct.
Give me 1 second, y'all. I want to see if this is it.
Thought, I went right to the scriptures. If we talking about the Bible, deal drugs, then I should let the black man get high. I should let the black man smoke crack and did my business. He cannot have his existence without coming to you. It's the same thing. Thank God for the men in ISU. The way she is representing her. Can y'all hear? You ain't said it for this.
Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to see if I can find this part that I said, because it's important. Hold on. There's a video where I'm mad I can't find this video. But in the video, there was a part where I said the woman has 911. And the black woman has used 911 as a weapon against black men for about 30, 40 years. Where she angry at him. I guarantee you, when we get to the root of this, I guarantee you it was either somebody he slept with, didn't want to deal with her no more, might be a baby mama, who knows what the relationship is. And out of her anger, she called the cops on him. Out of her anger, she said, I'm going to get you arrested. I'm going to get you shot. Because she tried to say that he abused her. Because matter of fact, let's play what she said. Because when I play what she said, it didn't make no sense. This is what she said. Let's see.
There's an action.
Hold on. This was a reaction
for every action. This is part A. You guys didn't have part A. You guys only had part B. And the narrative, it looks like I was trying to set this man up because you guys don't have part B. I'm giving you part B. I'm giving you what led up to the call. I was physically abused, so I called to protect myself. That's the issue. That's part A.
So now,
I never had any intentions to get anybody hurt.
You heard what she said?
I was the one that was getting hurt.
She said she was the one getting hurt.
And I
don't believe none of that.
To say my truth.
I don't believe none of that. When I say I don't believe none of that, I don't believe she was getting hurt. I don't believe there was any damage to her. I don't believe none of it. Because a woman that's abused, why wouldn't you just say I'm abused? Why would you sit back, put that seatbelt on like I said? Put it on. Thank you. Appreciate it. Why would you have to lie? Why would you have to lie and say it's 7 men in there, a woman is bleeding profusely? Why would you have to do that? Somebody said that's why. She wasn't invited to his birthday party. Maybe that's why. Yeah, she should live with what she did in jail.
Why?
She should live with what she did in jail. And this is why it be hard when black women be out here wanting to stand up and do something and all that stuff like that. This is why it be hard to stand up for y'all. It be hard when I gotta imagine me and Tommy going back and forth about a black woman and he played this story. This man lost his whole life. Not even shot. That woman put the cops versus a black man, knowing that usually ends in death, and then the black man dies, and it's not from the cops doing it, but his fear of police. His fear of police is why that black man is not here. Job, the 39th chapter, says that God deprived her of departed wisdom from her. And she thought she was doing something. Probably now was like, yeah, I'm going to get them locked up. Now that brother's dead. Now that boy's life is gone.
Guys, run.
The horrible coil. So with that, I'm going to end the show. Yeah, I know I got the boy in the back, so these live streams ain't going to be that long. So until next time, hey, knock, Kazak, come here. You want to say bye?
Bye.
Tell them who you are, Knock. Tell them your name. What's your name? Tell them
Nagaza.
your name, Kazak. You a priest?
Yeah.
Tell them you're going to be a priest of the Most High. Say, I'm going to be a priest there. I'm going to be a priest of God.
I'm going to be a priest. I'm going to priest a guy.
That's right. All right. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.